getting probably impact in terms of we'll have to have a stronger argument and put our argument together before the city council and before town meeting in North Andover, trying to get requests to have the funds approved through town meetings. Andover has already approved the project, but that was before the pool was pulled out, so we may have to go back to Andover and get another vote. But at this point here, we have to let MSBA, which we already did, that we were going to continue to keep the pool as part of the project, but I need an official vote from the committee if they still feel that they want to support that. And the argument is it's important to keep the pool project in there for a few reasons. Number one, the ventilation in the pool is at a point where it's causing deterioration within the structure, which includes the floor, tile work, the all the doors, windows, the system itself, which is the biggest part of the project. The ventilation system itself is about $350,000. Needs to be replaced. In order to maintain and keep the pool open, we would have to have that as part of the project. Otherwise, at some point, we'd have to look at and consider possibly closing the pool if we can't get it funded, which would be a setback for our phys ed program, as well as many of the communities and others that use the pool in the evenings and during the day, and on weekends. It's used, 24/7. Usually anytime from 5:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, you'll find people in the pool. So it's constantly being used by the community in many ways. So I would ask the committee, I would recommend that the committee vote to continue to support the pool area, and then I would work towards putting the arguments together and present to the communities why it's so critical and so important to the program and what the actual numbers would cost the community. For the city of Lawrence, the pool project would cost about $350,000 increase on what we originally thought. But we can look at creative ways to try to offset that, possibly offset that cost to them. If we felt as though there was a possibility that they would not want to fund the project, we could look at some things such as our capital budget, and that they fund us about $120,000 a year. We can look at possibly deferring that for a few years to offset the costs, so that it wouldn't be another burden on the cities and towns. If the committee wanted to do that, that would be something we could look at. So those are just one idea that would suggest. We could also utilize more of the rental money to try to offset some of the costs as well that we get from the pool. So,
I have a recommendation of the superintendent, a motion.
The recommendation of the superintendent.
I have a second. Discussion? Yes, Mrs. Abel, sorry.
I think it's a good thing to keep the pool in place now in order for it to be made available, not just to the community. One thing that I will say is that Lawrence will flip budget portion of the bill, which makes sense to have the students or city government should be doing it that way. What I will say is that the city of Lawrence or even the school itself doesn't utilize the majority of the pool. So, for example, I know we hired someone to do some of the maintenance, and the maintenance is usually is required because of use. So if you use it a lot, it costs a lot of maintenance. And for the most part, the groups that use the space aren't community groups of Lawrence. I don't know that the majority of the use is because of the school. So the district is pulling up this money for maintenance and for these new revamp, more so for the support of other groups, whether it be from Andover or North Andover or whatever community. So because it's a district and it works the way it does, the numbers work the way they do. But I think we have to be conscious of the use of the pool and who's using the pool most often and what the reason why we require maintenance and require all these changes is because of its use. And if you warrant spending money on it, you have to be conscious of the fact that the use is heavily on the side of other groups other than your secondary school. I'm probably going to vote against it, just because I don't feel that the city of Lawrence nor the students at the school make up the majority of the use. And if they did, then I would vote in favor of it. If the school was the majority of the use, then I would say yes, that's good, but I don't think that's the case.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes, during the school day, for the phys ed program, obviously since the majority of the students come from Lawrence, the majority of our students would be using it during the day. You're correct in the after hours that it's certainly not the Lawrence kids that do it. I want to keep it on the table and vote yes for it so that we can look at our options, whether it's financial options, putting it off, or doing things over time, but to at least keep the project alive. So that's the biggest reason. I don't want it to become an emergency situation 3 years down the road. We did fine actually until the renovations happened. Everything was going well. So I would want it kept alive just so that we could find a solution, knowing that MSBA is not.
Mr. Rossi?
Yeah, John, you said, if I understand you correctly, out of $500,000, $350,000 ventilation.
For the ventilation equipment that is utilized to vent the space.
Out of the total $500,000. And MSBA won't give that out, they won't take any of it.
No, MSBA doesn't fund any piece of the pool part of the project.
Very few sports, anything to do with sports.
Right, whether it be fields, anything.
I think I mentioned this to you before. What are the chances of maybe getting private funding for this project to alleviate some of the costs? I mean, from my standpoint, from Maryland's standpoint, it's not a lot of dollars for our community, but I'm obviously concerned about the other communities as well as not being able to have.
Thank you for your concern.
Yeah.
It's always a thing you can try. Mr.
Yeah, I kind of been getting this conversation, but I know about the pool. One of the things, I guess we have walked the roof right now, but
Oh, there's some brackets on the roof that we just had engineered that I just got the report today. I haven't even opened it yet. Regarding the brackets that are holding the roof in the pool area are starting to deteriorate, may have to be replaced.
yeah, okay, well, in comment to that, I was gonna talk about going the ice rink. That the ice rink has water, moisture, damage. And what happens is, I don't know if this is one next to another, at a time. And they have all wrapped with plastic. And it's about the same age as that. Anyway, all of the rest, we have to hold roof and everything else around up, because the ice is damaged, cold, in this case, the heat, chlorine, because something like that, it's not going to cause a problem. I can understand.
Okay.
I hate to ask you, but
Oh, I'm sorry, John, did you have something else?
Yeah, I just want to say that in terms of the use of the pool, we, in the last 10 years, did not have one single person swim in that pool, we would still be having a problem. Because the problem is the chlorine and the ventilation, regardless if it's being used or not being used. So if all we did for the last 10 years is just have our kids use it or the night school, doesn't really matter how much use it got. That's the problem, is not how much use it gets. It's the ventilation itself that's causing the problem, that it wasn't designed properly, originally wasn't designed properly for that type of, because what's happening is the ventilation is at the top, and so all the moisture, all the chlorine and the moisture is going up and infiltrating the whole building before it's sucked out. The new system is going to take it from the pool level, so before it even, as it comes off the pool, as the chlorine and the dampness comes off the pool, the system will grab the moisture and take it out before it even gets a chance to infiltrate the whole building, so infiltrate that whole space. So the real problem has been not so much use, but the design of the HVAC system was not done properly, right from the get-go, and that's what really causes the problem.
I guess my point is, it's about cause and effect, right? So if you were to remove the pool, what would be the detriment to City of Lawrence, right?
Mr. Joe would kill you.
Or what would be the detriment to the City of Lawrence and or to the students of Lawrence? It wouldn't be as high as, say, some of the groups in Hamilton, for example. It would be very detrimental, because they would have less facilities to be able to use. So the cost, the value of having that pool is that much greater for those groups than it is for Lawrence. And that's just because of the use, not just because of the maintenance and so on and so forth, and the cost to keep it up. But if you take something away from someone, and you put a value to taking that away, how much does it cost, and how much is it worth to replace it? And I would argue that cost to replace it for Lawrence is minor compared to some of the other communities' use. And that's what I'm talking about, as far as value and cost.
Okay, we're just about ready to move on, folks, unless you got something new to add, other than something hateful.
No, I was going to say, I was
Like
going to,
Dustin,
look,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna go later.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to abstain on this.
make a stand in the
So I
corner.
wanted to say something because.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was talking with John about fundraising, I wanted to draw that up.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it would be a good idea to fundraise, like either a breakfast.
Sure, it's a
one
possibility.
time,
Mr. Rossi had brought
$5,000 a head.
Rossi had brought
That's their question.
Do you have something else you want to add?
The only thing I was going to say that, from my perspective, in all honesty, if the pool were to close, it would impact our kids the most, because our kids have the least experience in swimming, and I think both the principal and myself think that swimming has become part of the phys ed program, and that's recent, because we believe strongly that all our kids need to learn how to swim, that it's a lifelong skill, that they haven't had the opportunity. We're fortunate to have a pool where we can give them that opportunity, albeit that Andover, North Andover, Methuen uses the pool for their swim team. It's just 2 months out of the year, and if you said to me, we won't let those groups, we'll keep the pool open if we can let those groups not swim, I'd say great. But the other thing the pool does is build positive relationships for our school with these communities, and they are our sending communities. So if they feel good about our school, when we go to present our budget, they feel good about the school because of we're extending our opportunities to their communities for the pool. It does another positive thing that I think is good for the school, and I think we have to recognize that as something important as well. That's all.
All right, we all set? Tom? Okay.
I agree with Mrs. Cheryl, I would check for this project going. And look at alternative sources of funding. I think the fact that a use fee or something will be done on the superintendent so makes everybody's up, makes the able to as well. I would vote yes.
Maybe we can only fill it halfway. Okay, everybody understands the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mr. Brondike? Mr. Henrik? Ms. Pearl?
No, she does, no, she knows. Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Vargas?
No.
Mr. Lamonte?
Yes, motion passes 6-1. Okay. Moving back, Mrs. Pierce, you here to join us?
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm sorry.
I'd like to welcome Becky Pierce, one of our science instructors, who's going to talk a little bit about her experience in Boston, running the Boston Marathon, and our plan for the Walkathon to benefit the One Fund as a result of, I think, one of the catalysts and one of the real reasons that we really feel strong about not only funding or helping out with the one fund, is that we want to respect and honor Becky for her experience, her past experience, and what she went through in the event back in April, which we're extremely proud of her.
Welcome.
Thanks. You want to move over? Where? Right to the podium. How about right?
Wherever you feel comfortable, how's that? Let's
Yeah,
go
that's
there.
good.
Wherever you feel comfortable.
I'm just going to read the same little speech that I wrote to read to the students when we returned back from vacation about my marathon journey. It was about 1 month ago, it will be 1 month tomorrow, that my lifelong dream of running the Boston Marathon was finally going to become a reality. I trained for over 6 months for the marathon. I went out on those cold winter mornings. I ran for hours. I ran long runs and I ran short runs. I sacrificed a lot of time with my family and friends to run to make sure that that day was going to be my day. As the race began, I was amongst thousands and thousands of really happy people. I crossed the start line a few short minutes later and was off and running. My dream was finally coming true. I knew with all of my hard work I could really do this. As I was approaching mile 17, I saw one of my best friends and fellow teacher here, Jen Dewey, waiting for me to cheer me on. I kept moving, I was feeling strong, and I was through mile 20, 21, and then as I was approaching mile 22, the medical volunteers came across the road and told me that my race was over. I had been running for over 4 hours at this point. I was shocked, I was speechless, and I was very sad. They told me that there was a problem with the finish line. People had been injured, so it was for our own safety to stay where we were. The medical teams, police, and the volunteers were simply amazing. They kept all of us safe, but not everyone is as lucky as I was that day. There were lots of innocent people hurt on that Monday for no reason. So what does this all mean? I may not have been able to cross the finish line that I had dreamed about since I was a little girl at home watching the marathon with my father, but that's okay. I made friends that day as I waited for my ride to take me back home. I have 22 miles of wonderful memories from this year's marathon. And from tragedies such as the Boston Marathon bombings, we can find strength to carry on, and I will be running in the Boston Marathon again next year. So after I read that to the students and staff and everybody, I met up in the PAC, and Superintendent LaPoy came up, and there were all these different ideas, and students came, other faculty members came, and there were all these ideas of what we can do, what can we do. And Superintendent LaPoy had an idea of doing a walkathon. And at first thought, I was a little overwhelmed with that, and I was like, okay, sure. So, and then he proceeded to explain to us, well, there'll be 4 people, and he had thought this out completely, and there'll be 4 people on the team, and every team member will walk 4 laps, and 4 laps equals a mile, and he's going on and on and on, and I'm like, all right. And I'm like, well, how long is this gonna take? And he said, it won't take very long, and I said, well, how come we're walking 4 miles? And he said, because we're all gonna finish the marathon with you. And I had nothing to say. I mean, I still think about it, and that just means so much. And so on May 29th, outside on the track at 3 o'clock, we are going to be doing the first Greater Lawrence Walkathon. All the money is going to be going to the One Fund, like he said. I'm very excited to do this, and I'm very excited that the students and the teachers and everyone here at Greater Lawrence is going to fulfill my lifelong dream. Just to tell you a few things about what's already been going on. Elise Barabee, one of the English teachers here, has been getting donations for yarn, and she's designed and knitted a bunch of scarves that are the One Fund colors. So those will be at the walkathon for purchase. We're going to raffle some of those off. The skills program has offered to every team that's out walking is gonna get the little ribbon pin, and they're gonna be making pins for everybody.